Hey, this is Jeremy from MainTakeAway. In this video we're going to be talking about Quiet by Susan Cain. Main takeaway from this book is the power of introverts, how creativity and power brew from introverts, and the cultural differences between extro and introverts. Is introversion bad? You're told that you're in your head too much, but there's another word for such people: thinkers. Introversion is a preference for environments that are not overstimulating. Character versus personality. In a culture of character, the ideal self was serious, disciplined, and honorable. What counted was not as much the impression one made in public as how one behaved in private. But when they embraced the culture of personality, Americans started to focus on how others perceived them. They became captivated by people who were bold and entertaining. The social role demanded of all in the new culture of personality was that of a performer. Lessons from Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker was one of the most effective leaders, had little or no charisma, and little use either for the term or what it signifies. Most leading in a corporation is done in small meetings, and it's done at a distance through written and video communications. One of the finest leaders. This man lost focus when he interacted too much with people, so he carved out time for thinking and recharging. When collaboration kills creativity. The rise of the new groupthink and the power of working alone. A quote from Albert Einstein: "I am a horse for a single harness, not cut out for a tandem or teamwork. For well I know that in order to attain any definite goal, it is imperative that one person do the thinking and the commanding." Consider what Wozniak did, right, after the meeting in Menlo Park. Did he huddle with fellow club members to work on computer design? No. Did he seek out a big open office space full of cheerful pandemonium in which ideas would cross-pollinate? No. When you read his account of his work process on that first PC, the most striking thing is that he was always by himself. Be independent. Work alone. You're going to best be able to design revolutionary products and features if you're working on your own. Teach our kids to work independently. Some people wish to fit harmoniously into the group, and others to be independent of it. Often the most creative people are in the latter category. From writer Franz Kafka. You once said that you would like to sit beside me while I write. Listen, in that case, I could not write at all. For writing means revealing oneself to excess, that utmost of self-revelation and surrender, in which a human being, when involved with others, would feel he was losing himself, and from which, therefore, he will always shrink as long as he is in his right mind. That is why one can never be alone enough when one writes, why there can never be enough silence around one when one writes, why even night is not night enough. What kind of child were you? 4 months old, who thrashed their arms like punk rockers, did so not because they were extroverts in the making, but because their little bodies reacted strongly. They were high reactive to new sights, sounds, but because their little bodies reacted strongly, they were high reactive to new sights, sounds, and smells. The quiet infants were silent, not because they were future introverts, but because they had nervous systems that were unmoved by novelty. High reactive children pay what one psychologist calls alert attention to people and things. They literally use more eye movements than others to compare choices before making a decision. It's as if they process more deeply, sometimes consciously, sometimes not the information they take in about the world. Many high reactives become writers or pick other intellectual vocations where you're in charge. You close the door, pull down the shades, and do your work. You're protected from encountering unexpected things. So find your sweet spot. Organize your life in terms of optimal levels of arousal. Set up your work, your hobbies, and your social life so that you spend as much time inside your sweet spot as possible. Functional, moderate guilt may promote future altruism, personal responsibility, adaptive behavior in school, and harmonious, competent, and pro-social relationships with parents, teachers, and friends. Why did Wall Street crash and Warren Buffett prosper? Extroverted clients are more likely to be highly reward sensitive, while the introverts are more likely to pay attention to warning signals. They're more successful at regulating their feelings of desire or excitement. Introverts are much better at making a plan, staying with a plan, and being very disciplined. Extroverts are characterized by their tendency to seek rewards, from top dog status to sexual highs. They found to have greater economic, political, hedonistic, ambitious than introverts. Even their sociability is a function of reward sensitivity. According to this view, extroverts socialize because human connection is inherently gratifying. What underlies all this reward seeking? The key seems to be positive emotion. Extroverts tend to experience more pleasure than excitement than introverts do because of the emotions that are activated. Intro versus extro in work. Of 64 traders at an investment bank, the highest performing traders tended to be emotionally stable introverts. Introverts also seem to be better than extroverts at delaying gratification. Extroverts are better than introverts at handling information overload. Introverts' reflectiveness uses up a lot of cognitive capacity. It's not that I'm so smart, said Einstein, who was a consummate introvert. It's that I stay with problems longer. Introverts think before they act, digest information thoroughly, stay on task longer, give up less easily, and work more accurately. You are reward-oriented when you get something you want. You feel excited and energized. 2. When you want something, you usually go all out to get it. 3. When you see an opportunity for something you like, you get excited right away. 4. When good things happen to you, it affects you strongly. 5. You have very few fears compared to friends. State of flow. In a state of flow, you are neither bored nor anxious, and you don't question your own adequacy. Flow often occurs in conditions in which people become independent of their social environment to the degree that they no longer respond exclusively in terms of its reward and punishments. To achieve such autonomy, a person has to learn to provide rewards to herself. There are some activities that are not about approach or avoidance, but about something deeper, the fulfillment that comes from absorption in an activity outside yourself. Cultural differences. Shy and sensitive children are shunned by their peers in Canada, but make sought-out-after playmates in China, where they are also more likely than other children to be considered for leadership roles. Chinese children who are sensitive and reticent are said to be dangxi, understanding, a common term of praise. From Lao Tzu, those who know do not speak, those who speak do not know. Individuals in Asia see themselves as part of a greater whole, whether family, corporation, or community, and place tremendous value on harmony within their group. They often subordinate their own desires to the group's interests, accepting their place in its hierarchy. Western culture, by contrast, is organized around the individual. We see ourselves as self-contained units. Our destiny is to express ourselves, to follow our bliss, to be free of undue restraint, to achieve the one thing that we, and we alone, were brought in this world to do. We may be gregarious, but we don't submit to group will, or at least we don't like to think we do. We love and respect our parents, but bridle at notions like filial piety, with their implications of subordination and restraint. When we get together with others, we do so as self-contained units, having fun with, competing with, standing out from, jockeying for position with, and yes, loving other self-contained units. Westerners value boldness and verbal skill, traits that promote individuality, while Asians prize quiet, humility, and sensitivity, which foster group cohesion. If you live in a collective, then things will go a lot more smoothly if you behave with restraint, even submission. Hiroshima victims apologize to each other for surviving. In Asian cultures, there's often a subtle way to get what you want. It's not always aggressive, but it can be very determined and very skillful. In the end, much is achieved because of it. Aggressive power beats you up. Soft power wins you over. Gandhi's passivity was not weakness at all. It meant focusing on an ultimate goal and refusing to divert energy to unnecessary skirmishes along the way. Pay attention. Introverts are capable of acting like extroverts for the sake of work they consider important, people they love, or anything they value highly. Pay attention to what you envy. Jealousy is an ugly emotion, but it tells the truth. You mostly envy those who have what you desire. Introverts like people they meet in friendly contexts. Extroverts prefer those they compete with. Venting does not soothe anger, it fuels it. We're best off when we don't allow ourselves to go to our angry place. A few more fun facts. In the book, people who use Botox, which prevents them from making angry faces, seem to be less anger-prone than those who don't, because the very act of frowning triggers the amygdala to process negative emotions. Extroverts are sociable because their brains are good at handling competing demands on their attention. which is just what dinner party conversation involves. In contrast, introverts often feel repelled by social events that force them to attend too many people at once. A coach once said, "I'd ask 100 questions in a row. I can manage the entire conversation just by asking the right questions. I try to tune in to the radio station of the person I'm working with. I pay attention to the energy they exude." That's it for this video. What's your takeaway? Share it on Facebook with someone who may need it. Or tweet at MainTakeAway and tell us what you learned. Also, share a comment below about what you liked or disliked about the video. You can get Quiet by Susan Cain on Amazon for $11.14. It's been rated a 4.4 out of 5 stars by 545 reviews.